What's happening, fam?
Hello. I kind of want to come straight out of the gate with a bit of a grievance.
Great. It's a
Ooh.
good day.
Okay. You know how I watched the YouTube vlogger who's in France and she's renovating the chateau?
Yep.
I got the ick so bad the other day because I was watching an episode of their vlog and they had spent the entire day traveling. I mean, planes, trains, and automobiles. They get back to their home and immediately one of the people climbs into bed with their outside clothes on. And you know what I mean by outside clothes?
Yeah.
It's whatever clothes you dress in to leave your house and do your business outside of your house.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like, oh, I'm going outside to like sit on my patio chair. This is outside of your domain.
Yeah.
You're sitting where other people sit. You're touching what other people touch.
Mm-hmm.
And this person got into bed and I turned green. I turned green. Because, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Did you say this is a grievance towards me?
Okay, yeah.
When have I ever done this? Sorry, I wanted to
okay.
answer your question. I'm so confused that
the way that this
how
connects,
is this has anything to do with me? I don't wear my outside clothes. Actually, I'm the opposite. When I get home, all I want to do is get my inside clothes
Indeed.
on.
And this is where it connects to you.
What the heck?
Buddy, the other day came home and you had done that exact thing. You took your outside clothes off, you put on your home comfy clothes. Where did your outside trousers end up?
Trousers? Well,
The
if you mean jeans from the 1920s.
We're on my bed.
Well,
it
I
was
do
a pair of trousers
That's a fair
from
grievance.
outside of the house and they were just on my bed.
Yeah.
And I kind of have a personal rule that I only really realized once I started kind of figuring this out is I try my very best to only allow if I'm going to lean up against my bed, maybe my top of my shirt or maybe the top of my waist, but nowhere else of my outside clothes usually goes on my bed.
Yeah, that's fair. So the trousers were not under
they're
your
not
covers. They were on the outside.
They were on the outside,
yeah.
which is not as bad.
I can quickly explain what happened. And this isn't the first time that it's happened. There's no chair in our bedroom. So I will sit on the end of the bed and change into my inside comfy pants. And my jeans are stored in a dresser that is in our closet, which is beside your bed on the way there. So I think it's this weird subconscious, I'm going to put this here just for a moment, get changed, and then I'm going to grab it. It's efficiency on my way to put them away. And probably just what happens is I'm doing something and then a kid yells at me and then I forget they're there. So you know what? I'm humble enough to take a fair grievance, and that's a good one.
Okay, but it is weird to planes, trains, and automobiles it up and then go home and lay in your bed.
I think that is
really made my skin crawl a little bit.
I think that's egregious, and I think it's very similar to shoes on carpet. I've always had a respect for the Japanese because they are very big on hey, once we're inside, no shoes. And I'm not. The thing I don't mind is hardwood. If someone's sitting on tile or hardwood, I don't think that's that big of a deal. But there's something about when you're out and about. I mean, everyone will have to use a public restroom from time to time, which you know how I feel about that. Just go see episode 1.
Right.
Very strong feelings from Ep 1. But who knows the things you're walking in or out on the roadway, out on the sidewalks. And then to think that they're magically sanitized when you walk through your front door and then you could step on carpet. See, the hardwood, you can you could scrub it. The carpet fibers, it really gets in there. I mean, maybe a good carpet cleaning. So I think that's the most extreme. The next level would be your outside clothing. It just doesn't belong. Yeah, you can't put it in the sheets. The sheets is that's the
it's
the purest place in your house should be under your seats. That's why it's so. It's a disaster if there's ever a spider or bug in there because that is not where they belong. They belong outside. Every now and then they'll be inside. But getting them underneath the sheets, having a bug in there is very close to having your outside clothes in there. And I was listening to a podcast years ago. It reminded me of this. I think it was my brother and me. And they were talking about, someone wrote into them and the lady's like, help, my husband wears jeans all day and he even wears his jeans at night. He sleeps in jeans.
Ew.
And they were just joking, does he have does he have nighttime jeans? Like, does he have bedtime,
nighttime
like nighty
jeans.
night jeans? You know,
They're all
just like,
soft and worn in. They're like 100% cotton, old
like,
Levi's.
yeah, just
Like
some
cozy.
old. Oh, can you imagine just the denim? But that's what you'd have to do. Is
You'd have to do
to
that.
have inside outside clothes. So you would dress up like I'm maybe dressed right now to go out. But you're like, no, these are reserved, like a special place in my closet that I'm going to just go to bed and sleep in there. So no, I don't think that should be allowed.
Well, good. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it
We're
is either.
unified
And I
on
think
that, and fair grievance. But since you're going to hit me with one right out of the gate, I have one for you, my friend.
hit me.
And this isn't just for you. This is going to offend some people.
Okay.
And I'll die on this hill. I know this is a lot of people. My grievance to you is how often the mismanagement of your knife skills. How often when you cut
Rude.
towards your finger. And I know there's like, hate me in the comments, but I do not think you should ever cut, especially like we have handmade knives. I keep them razor sharp, cutting towards, and what I'm talking about is peeling an apple, peeling a potato,
he gets all
whatever
in
it
a
is.
flurry because I'm peeling apples, potatoes, or slicing them
Towards your
and
thumb.
I have the tiny little, it's like a bird beak of a knife. It's
Doesn't
very
matter.
small.
Razor
And
sharp.
you come slowly towards just that pad of your thumb and stop. And then you just go again and go again. And that is how my grandmother taught me to cut things.
She's
and
wrong.
I've never cut myself like that. I've
Haven't
literally
yet.
never cut myself with a knife doing that one time in my whole life.
Well, I think you're playing with fire, and I view it the same way with a firearm. When I was trained on firearms when I was very young, is that you never point a gun in a direction if you are not ready to shoot the thing you're pointing at. So you keep the gun down at all times. You would never put it towards your leg and then be like, but I'm not, my hand's not on the trigger. I've never shot myself before. That's what it's like to pull a knife towards you over and over. And I think there's other ways. Like I have decent knife skills. I don't ever cut towards myself. So if there ever is an accident, it's going to go away from me
this right now.
versus the accident of it going towards you. And I know a lot of people do this and professional chefs do this. And my grievance isn't just to you, it's to everyone. Like, why are we using sharp knives towards ourselves? And just because I've never hurt myself before is the same thing as like the motorcyclist. I love motorcyclists. I rode for years. And saying like, well, I've never wrecked on my bike before, to act like you can't hit some gravel or an animal or somebody could pull out in front of you, even if you're a great rider. To say like, well, it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that there's not an enhanced risk of danger. It's the same thing with knife skills. What are you even looking up?
I'm just like Googling.
The internet's not going to tell you, it's the internet. It's going to tell you that either I'm right or I'm wrong. This is just my personal grievance, which we all have our opinions. And I see you do it so often. And our precious young children are watching our knife skills and they're going to repeat.
This is somebody on Reddit. They're like, often when I watch a cooking video or watch people in real life, such as my parents preparing food, they very often seem to be pushing the blade towards their thumb. It seems like it would cause such an increased risk of cutting for yourself accidentally, yet I see it all the time. And then it's just got gobs and gobs and gobs of replies.
So good to know that I'm not alone.
It says, while there is some increased risk, your description of the technique isn't quite accurate. It's not that they are pushing the blade, they are squeezing it together by their one hand, which has way more control than if they were using two hands.
Yeah, definitely. If I just squeeze a razor sharp knife or a razor blade into my thumb, like that can't hurt me. I have to violently like rip across it.
It is different than chopping, that downward motion and all of that. I mean, it's just this little closing kind of clamp of a
I do that
action.
too. I'm just cutting away from myself into the cutting board. I'm just trying to keep your fingers safe. And maybe I'm extra sensitive. Mel, am I extra sensitive when it comes to like sharp knives in the house?
You're absolutely correct. Oh, wait, no, never mind. You're way too sensitive. But I'm talking about your point of which direction you do the knife. You're absolutely correct. So you're way too sensitive.
Okay, so I'm way too sensitive about knife safety, which I think that's true. I have, for those of you who cannot see it on
He has like
camera,
a carrot-shaped
it is
scar.
a nasty
It's a chili pepper.
scar.
Or a chili
and it used to be
pepper?
much larger. You probably can't see it on the camera. It's right here. But this thing happened when I was, I don't know, I was very young, maybe 9 or 10 years old as a young
Mm.
little boy. And again, Mel, we talked about chores, had to do them all the time. So my job was to mow the lawn, push mow at the time. And every now and then the lawnmower deck would get clogged with wet grass. So my dad taught me to, hey, when it gets clogged with wet grass, what you need to do, make sure the mower is completely off. You turn it on its side, go and get this very large flathead screwdriver, and then just get underneath it. You unclog all the grass, and you're good to go. So I mowed the whole lawn, just a little fella.
Sure. So knife safety skills, but sticking a
Hold on.
big old thing into a blade.
Hold on. Well, what cut me was it was a sharp.
I get you.
It was a sharp blade. I went into the shed to try to grab the screwdriver. I did not get cut by the lawnmower nor the lawnmower blades, which you totally could. But that part was fine. I walked into the shed. The problem is I was vertically challenged. I was not as tall. I was 8 or 9, unlike my dad, who's probably like 5, 9 or 10. And I just couldn't reach it at the time. It was just a little guy. So I had to jump up to get that screwdriver. And when I did, I got kind of hung up on something. I felt my wrist got caught on something and I had to kind of pull it off. I had to kind of slightly yank it off. And when I looked down, it was just completely wide open, very clean, just like a knife or a razor blade, just wide open. And I looked back at like, what happened? The screwdriver was still there. I didn't get it. But there were 2 little thin pieces of metal that come out that were meant to hold like a shovel or a rake or a broom. You know, you could
it
put
was
it
one
up
of
there.
those clamped things you
It
push
wasn't a
in
clamp.
and
It was just
like hold them up.
two. It was a big metal strip, and then all along the strip there'd be a section of a pair of razor sharp little pieces of metal that were just maybe a couple inches wide, so you could put like a broom up there and it would hold it up. So my little wrist got caught up on that and split it wide open. I was surprisingly very calm. I came out. My mom happened to be in the backyard, and I came out, and I don't have a recollection of this, but she would never forget it. She just said, like, I walked out and I said, "Mom, call 911. I think I might have cut myself on a rusty nail."
Oh my
So I don't know why I
gosh.
said that. I think that was probably, remember there was a show?
Yes.
It's like 911. Is that what it was called? Or
Cops?
No, it wasn't Cops. There was like an emergency show in the 90s called 911. Man, I could be wrong.
Again, didn't have
No,
to
can
be.
you Google 911 show 90s and just see if that's a thing? Because it might be called something else. But I think that's where I learned that and had to have stitches. So I think I'm a little extra sensitive to
being cut.
getting cut. And then one more story, if I can tell this story. One more time I got severely cut.
Okay.
Okay.
That
I'm bringing you in.
really quick, though.
You think you're vulnerable to the cutting.
Like I've heard the story of how you cut your wrist so many times, and every time I come up with the same questions of like, why is a big old like a screwdriver you're supposed to get like so far out of your reach? It could just like come right down and get you in the face.
Yeah. Well, right above it was the frame of the shed, and the screwdriver was just resting upon the frame so you could see the handle. And if you're tall enough, you would just go slowly and grab it. Now, I'm taller than my dad now. I can just reach up, grab it, no problem. But he probably just wasn't thinking where it was at. It was no big deal for him. And all I would have needed was like a little bucket or step stool, and I just could have reached up and grabbed it. The problem is I was jumping and my arm was moving around.
And just the fact that you caught your arm on it and had to like unhook your arm.
Yeah, well, because it went all the way to the, you can see where it went. It
You're
got
so
hung
lucky
up on the top of my
still
wrist.
have functionality of your
That's
whole
what
hand.
the surgeon said. Rest in peace. The gentleman, I believe he died in a plane crash. Not to make it too dark, but the guy who sewed me up, he told my mom, he said it's like miraculous that he was like a centimeter away from a major nerve and another centimeter or 2 away from a major artery, and he cut it perfectly in between those two things to where I've had no issues. And the second place I have no issues. Melda, could you find anything?
Yes, the 90s had a popular TV show called Rescue 911 hosted by William Shatner.
William Shatner, let's go. Yeah, okay, Rescue 911. I was close, and it was a whole show of, so I think I watched enough of that I was like, I'm in the show now, Mom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
like, I got to stay calm. We got to call the professionals.
Well, my mom is a professional.
It's true.
She's a nurse, seasoned vet, has seen everything, and she lost color in her face. That's I didn't freak out until I saw her when she got a look at it. But it's different when it's your kid.
Oh, it is.
And it's also the fastest I won't say how fast she was going, but the fastest I've ever seen my mom drive.
Aww.
But speaking of driving,
so you have another
the second
story.
one, I've been cut up. I think this is why I'm extra sensitive. The second story happened, and this is one of those we all have dreams to where we're like falling or something horrible is happening and you wake up out of the dream and it feels real for a minute.
Yeah.
This was one of those in real life. Like there's no way to exaggerate upon the story to make it any scarier because it's straight out of a movie. Now that I've set that up, this is the story of how I got another really bad cut. I was in California, the hills, the mountains, Sequoia National Forest, I think, like Southeast California in the mountains. Gorgeous area. I was with my girlfriend at the time. This is before we met, and her parents at her grandparents' cabin. It's a really cool spot. And we went for a ride up in the mountains, and her grandfather collected old Jeeps, really old, 1940s, maybe
Those are so cool.
50s. They're really cool. So I was in maybe like a 1950s Jeep. There was no top whatsoever, and we wanted to take it for a ride. So my girlfriend at the time, her mother was driving. Her dad was in the passenger. This was her mom's dad's vehicle. So she was driving. Girlfriend's father was in the front. I was in the back behind the driver. My girlfriend was beside me. And this Jeep is completely open air. So the back of it was like you could actually extend your head back even like beyond where the back of the Jeep was. If you like Google what an old Jeep looks like.
Didn't they have another passenger in the car?
And
a four-legged.
The family dog.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was a dog.
And a
Then I know
family
the
dog.
story.
It was a lab. It was a chocolate lab, big boy, like over 100 pounds, big lab. He was in the front, dad holding it. So we're driving up this mountain and it was so beautiful, just winding up. There wasn't really anybody on the road. And we're just winding, getting higher and higher. So you can see the valley below us. And it's just, I don't know where we were going, but probably to get an epic view of the valley. So going up and up and up. And at some point going up the hill, the engine stalled. And I didn't think anything of it. It was a real slow stall going up. And then we just kind of stopped and then very slowly started going backwards. And everybody was really calm. She was, trying to get it in gear again. And my girlfriend's dad was cool. He's like, hey, hit the brake or maybe hit the clutch. Like it was back and forth. It was a manual old Jeep, I believe. So she was trying everything, could not get the engine to turn over. And she was mashing the brakes. And we started going a little bit faster. And she said, I have no brakes. And we just began rolling down this hill. So now she is
not a hill,
in silence.
A mountain.
It was
essentially.
a mountain. It was a mountain. So she's steering backwards at this time. And again, no one's saying anything. No one has any solutions. We're just experiencing the moment. Very quiet too, because there's no cars around. There's no engine noise. So for a moment, it was kind of peaceful. Just a little bit of wind in the mountains. But it started getting faster and faster, 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour backwards. So now everybody is freaking out, but no one's yelling or anything. It's just, you just have that, okay.
I'm about to die.
Okay, so I'm like thinking about my life. You know what I mean? Everyone's making it right with God and their maker. Like, because like this is it. And she had two options. It was either going at this speed, either slam it right into the mountain and we're going to roll and probably fall off, or just go straight off the mountain. And there's no guardrail. This is out in the middle of the hills. We're done. Wide open air. There's just nothing. So this goes on for way longer than you would ever want it to. Total nightmare. And listen, there are people out there that give women a hard time for driving. At times, not fair.
You do.
It's not fair. Only if the driving that is happening in the moment is bad. If it's a guy, I say the same thing. Like, where did this guy learn to drive? So I'll dish it out to anybody.
Get out your joke
but
later.
I'm trying to celebrate women's driving skills because I don't know that I could have done it or that he could have, her dad could have done it. But she had the most miraculous idea going, who knows, 30, 40 miles an hour backwards. At some point, she saw there was a little turnoff that maybe it was like a hiking trail. And she saw like a minivan. And she had the thought, if I hit this minivan, this is the safest thing that we can do. Like a normal car accident. So
like
this will stop us. Yeah, if I can just hit this minivan. But oh no, my daughter and her boyfriend, their heads are like hanging out of the back of the Jeep. So if she hit it head on, we would be toast. So she perfectly hit the side of this van and just destroyed it, like right beside
so she
her
rammed
and I.
the whole. She just ran down the side of the
side
Jeep.
of it, just
The Jeep.
And then what fully stopped us, that slowed us down. What fully stopped us is she hit a tree. But if it was a normal sized tree, we would have been toast. Maybe her and her husband would have survived. But my girlfriend and I, we would have hit the tree or the mountain or a rock or whatever. But they had just cut down a tree by the road. So it was a huge stump.
Yeah.
That was maybe, 2.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
So when we hit it, our heads went back, the force of it. But we didn't hit our heads. So that happened. We completely stopped. I'm looking around to see like what's going on. My girlfriend, for whatever reason, instantly jumps out, falls down. She passed out, blacked out. So I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, she's dying. Then I look at her dad, and he is just opened himself up because they had a roll bar in front. His head hit that, so it was a scene.
But he had thrown the dog out.
Oh,
halfway
I forgot.
Through.
So halfway through that's the saddest part of the story.
I think it's like nicest part of the story.
Halfway through, not even
rolling
halfway.
Back.
As we began to roll back, he was like, "This is going to be it for us. This boy's going to live." So he tossed the dog out.
Yeah, this
good boy. So the poor dog going for the happiest joyride with his family on a beautiful sunny day, a perfect day, all of a sudden gets chucked out of the Jeep. And we could see him in front of us because, we're going backwards. He does a little barrel roll and we weren't going super fast, but fast enough that he was like, what? Why would he think he would get tossed out? Yeah. So he kind of rolls. We crash. The dog will be a part of this. So I see her pass out. I jump out, run over to her. I collapse, like my legs give out, and I didn't know why. So she kind of came to. Turns out, I don't know if she's being dramatic or what, but she just passed out. She didn't even hit herself or anything.
Just a lot of adrenaline.
Just adrenaline or whatever. She was actually completely fine. What knocked me down is, I believe it was my left foot. When we hit that tree stump, it shoved the metal, again, sharp things, getting sliced, keeps happening to me. It shoved a big piece of metal on the floorboard in the back.
Up into your foot?
Into my foot.
Ooh.
And it just opened me up. And that's what knocked me down on the side of my heel. And then her dad comes out, just his face is completely covered.
Heads bleed so much.
It was bad. So I took my shirt off, gave it to him. He uses my shirt for a
You're such a hot guy.
A tourniquet.
Allow me to give you my shirt.
No, I was probably crying. I wasn't
know,
crying,
I know.
There was nothing.
But still, it's a very
cute
heroic,
about it.
like adventure movie thing to do.
Probably
that's very like Matthew
heavily
McConaughey.
Instinctual. It's like, dude, this guy's
amazing,
worse shape than me. I tossed my shirt. I'm shirtless. So, and her mom was fine. Ladies were fine.
Good.
Guys were jacked up. And and then we look, and all of a sudden the dog is...
The old boy is coming. He's like, I thought you guys loved me.
So during this time, we were able to get a little bit of cell phone service. We called 911, and girlfriend's mother called the grandparents because they were back at the cabin. Grandparents got there just a few minutes before the ambulance, and once it got there, they got there, the EMTs looked at him and like, you need to go to the ambulance. He's like, I don't really want to pay for that. I think it's fine. He's like, I think we should drive.
That's such a farmer thing to do.
He's the toughest dude.
Yeah.
And they were like, sir, the closest hospital from here up in the hills is probably, it's a 40-minute drive.
Sure.
Because we can get there a little bit faster. He's like, we're good enough. So he still had my t-shirt on his head. They gave him a little pack or whatever. And we got the clear to, they were like, we can't force you, but they gave me some stuff to wrap my foot. So we took the grandparents' vehicle back to our original vehicle and then drove that to the hospital. And to end the story, the funniest part out of all this, dog was fine, by the way. I love dogs. I love animals. Now, was he a little bit bruised? Who wasn't? But he was totally fine.
He was fine.
Lived a nice long life. But on the way there, her parents were like, these ER things take forever. These are just like some of the toughest people. They're like, these ER things take hours. We didn't even get lunch. They're like, I think we should stop and get something to eat. So I'll never forget, we went to a Wendy's in the drive-thru. So I'm in the back of the car. My foot's propped open, covered and
shirtless, covered in blood, with a foot hanging out of a
he's still a mess and has the like tourniquet, my t-shirt wrapped around his head. And it was just so funny that we all looked at the person at the counter. Their eyes were, the size of like,
at the drive-thru window.
Yeah, they just rolled up, and this guy just looks like, just what happened? Just got out of a gnarly car accident, and then we just ate on the way there, and then I had to have stitches. Same thing. Didn't mess with my... Man, I've been so lucky. I won't tell my other car accident stories, but I've been in so many.
I've been in also a lot of car accidents.
Couple of stories I probably had like legitimate trauma with sharp things.
Sure.
I've never broken a bone. I don't have any other issues, but I've been cut so many times and never with a knife. But when I'm around knives, I get freaked out because I know what it's like to have to deal with that.
I know that I've only cut myself with a knife one time while I was washing a knife. The thing that I cut myself on all the time is the darn cheese grater. And so I love the method you've come up with because you have these like cotton gloves that you wear with plastic gloves to hold and handle all of this like barbecue that you're always doing because it keeps the heat away. But it's not as nasty as like an UV glove is way too thick. You can't be nimble with it.
Nope.
So I love the fact that you've come up with this plan. And it's a really nice like skin protectant because I don't want to buy and have to wash one of those chainmail gloves that the Chick-fil-A folks wear all the time.
No,
I'm sorry, Chipotle.
Yep.
But still, like, I'll tell you, I've shaved off more than a few knuckles when I'm grating cheese.
Same thing happened to me.
Nothing I've ever fed to anyone.
Yeah. And just help someone. This is great for barbecue. His name is Malcolm from How to Barbecue Right. Check out his YouTube. He's taught me a ton about barbecue. He's the man. And you look at him, he's a big boy. Like you could tell this guy knows how to eat. He knows the barbecue. He's amazing. I learned a ton of stuff. But I learned it from him. He just buys these. You could probably get them anywhere. It's just a white cotton glove. You can get like a 10-pack of just, it's just a white cotton glove. It looks
like a really boring version of a winter little mitten.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think I got them at a weird place like Tractor Supply or whatever. But anyway, you put that on first. That's like your protectant thermal barrier. And then you just get a normal, what's it called? It's like the plastic food handling gloves.
Yeah.
And you put it over,
just buy a couple
you put
of
over
those.
top, and that's what makes it sanitary. And when you take it off, that other glove is fine because you didn't touch any of the stuff. It's really great if you're cooking and you want to handle, let's say, some ribs or a brisket or like a pork butt or something. The heat doesn't mess with you. That kind of helps. So I've thought,
it's kind of magical.
If that keeps me, it's really nice, and you still,
and you have the dexterity. So now we do it for grating cheese. Because that's really the dangerous part of
now
my
you
life.
will still cut yourself, but you have a double barrier. You have the really thin outer glove, which isn't going to do much, but you have that cotton glove. I think you could still, if you really get into it, you could hurt yourself, but it is much safer than just a bare hand. And while we're on the subject, how have we not found a better way to shred blocks of cheese? Because we're big, you got to shave it off the block.
Yeah, we do not do pre-shaved cheese because then you have the anti-caking agent that prevents it from getting that nice gooey meltiness.
Yes.
So we are massive Tillamook cheddar cheese lovers. We buy the bricks or the loaves and shred it ourselves. And we've had multiple types of shredding implements over the years. We've had the shredding mandolin. We've had a shredding like rotating crank grater. And we have always just had to go straight back to the standard box grater that you stand up on the shelf or the counter, and just grate the cheese. But
been around 100 years and we're still using it. And I think it's time that we just think of it. It's dangerous. You're going to lose knuckles. Like
my knuckles can't take it anymore.
No. Yeah. And if you're wondering what she's talking about, look at any shredded cheese closely. It has like a white fine powder, and they do that so it doesn't
cake together.
Yeah. But it messes with the texture of the cheese.
It does, because if you're going to make nachos or anything else, like a casserole or anything, and you put that, it doesn't melt very well because the anti-caking still makes it all stringy. Like, it's not as good.
And we're so serious about our Tillamook cheese. If you haven't had it, medium cheddar Tillamook, we get it at Costco. You buy it by the brick. It is delicious. It melts perfectly. It's good in every form. But we used to get it imported. Remember when we'd ask friends to smuggle it?
Yes. So we lived in Virginia.
Fly it in.
And there was no
That's right.
Costco near us. And I don't even think there was a Sam's Club. All they had was BJ's. And so BJ's wholesaler, and they didn't carry Tillamook. And I think that this one store near us carried like a baby loaf of Tillamook, and it was probably $10 for this just little baby loaf. So anytime anybody came out to visit us and flew across the country or wherever or drove, we'd be like, can you smuggle us some cheese? Like
4 bricks. What do you want?
And we'd be like sweating. We'd be like, oh, we got to have it. We got to get the cheese. And then they'd come and immediately there was a suitcase and be like, okay, the ice is melted. Get it into the fridge quick. And you close the door and you just feel like, 6 more months, we've got cheese.
That's right. We tried
It
all
was
the other things. and
amazing.
we couldn't touch it. So we only live in places now where we have access to. And our last house was an hour away from Costco.
Correct.
We didn't care. We still had a membership.
Still kept a membership, and it'd be like, oh, time to get some cheese. Probably get a couple like other big items. But really, people would be like, why do you go all the way to Costco? I'd be like, the cheese.
That's right.
Duh. Yeah, it's like currency in our house, or sugar. People love them, their ice cream or their cookies or whatever. And it's like, no, we gotta have Tillamook cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got to submit grievances towards one
know.
another.
I do have a question, and this isn't a grievance. It's just something like I've observed.
Okay.
Because now it's like swimming pool weather, and we all were swimming the other day. And after we get out of the pool, I just have noticed over the years this very distinct, like, boys do this, girls do this. And I want to understand. When a girl gets out of the pool, she'll like wrap the towel around her shoulders and kind of get her body dry, and then maybe wrap it like around her hips, or just keep it over herself like a cloak. Why do boys wrap their towels around their middle of their waist, low ribs, like Fred Mertz's pants coming way, way, way up, and then roll it and just walk around like you're an old-timey boxer? Like, do you know those black and white pictures and old-timey videos of boxers from like New York?
Hiked way up.
And they got, like Cinderella Man style, and it's like way, way up here.
Know.
Like, what is with men and towels?
The only thing I could guess is like men don't have hips to hold it up like ladies do.
Yeah.
Like you have something that if you put it around your waist, it's going to hold it up.
A little bit.
Don't. We're just like really narrow on the sides. So maybe we just start higher, because it naturally, as I'm wearing the towel, I can feel it slowly start to fall. Like unless you get it really, really tight, it starts to slide down. So I probably just start like higher up, so I know it's going to slowly fall down.
That's why.
I don't know. I don't really think about it.
It's just something I've seen. Like, boys always have done that. Just like way rolled up super tight, like they're an old timey. Like, we should slick their hair down the middle and get them a little twisty mustache.
I don't think all guys do that, but I do. I'll pay attention to it because I don't. There's things that we do. We don't.
As
think
the summer
about.
Goes by, let's see what the fellas do.
Okay.
We'll keep a little mental tally. But it's something that kind of like I observed and was like, what is with that? Yeah. Because you're not the only one.
Yeah. Well, we always talk about food. We might as well continue to talk about food.
I love food.
My thing that like I'm at odds with myself, kind of torturing myself, is for the past probably too long. I don't watch them as much anymore, but like the past year of me watching, this is probably some brain rot stuff of like, why are you spending time with this? But watching these food blogs, but it's really just people trying food in their car from different restaurants. Like they'll travel the country to the best spots and they'll just eat food and rate it and review it.
That would be amazing.
I'm torturing myself because I'm so interested and can watch this, but one of the things I hate more than anything on earth is listening to somebody chew.
Ooh, yeah.
So I'm caught in this loop of like, this is what I want to watch, and the algo keeps sending it to me. But then I'm just watching people chew in their car, which is way worse than in person because I have my AirPods in. So it's just like inside of my ear.
They're just
not like at a distance chewing.
This close.
They're just. It'd be the worst ASMR ever.
Oh.
Just chewing. Oh, I bet there's weirdos who are into just chewing ASMR.
Ew.
Just hours on loop in their ear of just people.
Our kids know how much I don't like that sound that they will sneak up on me and go right behind my ear and start chewing all loud and gross.
This is bad podcasting. Sorry for everyone who has to hear all these mouth sounds.
People are so grossed out by this episode because like the people that don't like blood and guts and gore, they turned it off way early. Yep. And now people that don't like chewing noises are done.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry, everyone. It's just real
It's
stuff.
what it is sometimes. It's just real life. But I love food so much that's the one question I ask as I am assisting patients leaving the hospital. I'll always say, all right, tell me, I ask this of everyone, what meal are you looking forward to most?
Great question.
And people always get really like psyched about that because they've been usually in hospital for weeks at a time and they're ready to get home and eat like home cooked food. And some of the stuff people say is just like, oh yeah, I think I want to eat that for dinner today. I mean, it gets me all excited for dinner too. But food is like this, kind of equalizer. We all like eating.
Not everybody.
It
trips me out when there are people who are just like, it's sustenance, it's fuel, it means nothing to me. Like I don't relate to that.
It's like a knife in my heart.
It's really tough. Yeah. Food's like the top 3 things I enjoy about life. I won't name all of them.
Okay,
but
we
it's
love
top
food
3.
so much. Speaking of like shipping in cheese, that when I would go back to California after we moved away and visit some of my relatives, and you would oftentimes have to stay at home and work. And what would I do? I would get you. I would
I think
call
this happened
ahead.
one time.
I think I did it twice.
Okay, I remember
successfully.
one time.
I called ahead to the local In-N-Out and I said, listen, I'm flying out today across country. I need to bring back 2 doubles, animal style, but I need everything separate.
Everything separate. I'm going to freeze dry it.
And I'm going to put it in the freezer tonight.
That's so gross.
And fly with this stuff on ice and get it back to my husband. And I did that. And to their credit, like the staff at In-N-Out are top notch.
Amazing.
They're so amazing. They put every little thing in its own little package and even did the melted cheese and the onions and all of it. And so I just freeze it the night before, all separated in their own plastic bags. And I would pack it in my luggage. And then I'd have to explain myself to TSA and be like, we just love In-N-Out. We just love food.
Imagine the things that they see. And then I'd pick you up at the airport. I probably didn't even ask how your trip went. I was just like,
did you get it?
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Yes.
I'm sure that I said that just to like, where's my burger? I love In-N-Out burger.
Precious.
I haven't had it in so many years. A double. Animal style with some fries when
and
it's
a
fresh.
Chocolate shake.
But you broke it all down individually.
So it was safe.
On the way to the airport, you got home, we kept it.
And it was always
I reheated
good.
everything just right.
And he would like retoast the bun on the pan with the butter and all of it.
And then I was eating In-N-Out burger in a place on the other side of the country, which no one, and I was fully convinced in the state of Virginia. I'm like, I'm the only person eating In-N-Out burger in Virginia right now. And I'll put all the money I have on it.
I would guarantee. And it was always a really fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Because that's just you and me. Like that's the kind of stuff we do for each other.
Yeah. I haven't thought about that in years. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, of course.
You're the best. What a good wife. Man, getting married, if you get the right one, she's the right one for me.
You're the right one.
Is the greatest thing in the world. But it is the weekend. It's a beautiful weekend. We're actually recording a little bit early, a couple days earlier than usual, because when this comes out, which I believe it's usually launches very early Wednesday morning, when this comes out, Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm not sure when it's going to drop, but I will be...
You'll be at dad camp.
300 feet in the air.
Screaming for your life.
On a Giga Coaster. Do you know what a Giga Coaster is? I believe there's only...
Can you say that again?
No. A Giga Coaster. I believe there's only between 7 and 9 of them in the world at this point.
Okay.
A Giga Coaster is classified as a roller coaster that is, I think it's at least 300 feet tall and can go at least 50 or maybe 60, maybe it's 60 miles an hour.
Dang.
That's considered a Giga Coaster.
You'll be doing that.
So I'll be doing that with my oldest, Melody. Are you excited?
Dad camp freestyle.
It's going to be awesome. And I just can't wait. Melody and I love roller coasters. So we'll talk about our adventures on the next episode when I get back. But I just hope I don't get sick. We went to Cedar Point last year. And there was no crowds, and we had a fast pass.
They came back green.
And we rode so many intense rides back to back, 2 days straight.
On popcorn and
when
Diet
it ended,
Coke.
we were done. We were so sick. Our bodies could not move. I had probably vertigo. It was. So we're gonna try to pace ourselves a little bit better this year.
Lessons learned. You'll have fun
see
though.
How it goes. But we've got a busy weekend. We got to get going. But I hope everyone enjoyed a couple random stories of me injuring myself, a couple tips about Tillamook cheese and how to fly burgers back in their...
And then just don't wear your outside
suitcase.
clothes into your bed.
And don't wear your outside clothes
Let this be your,
into your bed. Yeah.
intervention from Peanut Butter and Pickle Podcast.
And
just don't do that.
And don't fully listen to us, because if you think about what we just told people, we're like, don't wear outside clothes in bed, but do eat a suitcase burger. So you navigate that how you will. See you guys next week.
Bye.